You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, joins us on Tuesdays. Talk a little recruiting. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Doing awesome. Hey, I know fall camp's going to open tomorrow. We're in the middle, or on Wednesday. We're in the middle of a dead period. Are we going to see recruits and prospects at practice observing? Are they going to be allowed to do that?
No. So they cut out, which was only really a week or maybe even less than that, where they used to do at the end of July. Everyone would have their the Bayou Splash and the barbecues and all that, and that was your one more chance to host kids or get face-to-face contact before you turn to fall camp, before they turn to school and camp and all of that. So with that, we're in, I guess, right now midway through a 2-month dead period, which I guess made that month of June that was busy with official visits and summer camps all the more important.
So it's interesting, Shea. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I know there's always a lot of prospects at spring practice, but don't we typically see guys find their way to fall camp to watch and observe practice during fall camp?
Often more of a spring camp thing. Gosh,
Okay.
I'd have to think back. And there was a time when a period of August was open, but now it is fully dead all the way up until, I guess it's either the end of August or if you play a game before the end of August, you could then have kids on campus.
Shea, does this make it easier, harder for staffs that are trying to recruit and finish off or bolster classes before guys start their senior seasons?
Gosh, I would say that nothing's easier in the NIL era and now rev share and balancing all of that when you recruit prospects. But I would, in the most simple form of answering that, I would think easier just knowing, okay, if guys are going into their senior year, they don't want to deal with distractions often of, recruiting and going on visits and all of that stuff. Most of it is done by the summer. So with a 2-month dead period, even a full month of July is big, but another month, I think, gives these kids, their parents, family, the agents that represent them enough time to talk, think it over, and not be kind of getting new pitches in person from, every staff that they go visit, during their kind of stretch of officials or unofficials. So I think it's almost like a dust settles moment, right? And then you kind of get things together and decide where you want to go, and then you can just focus on your senior year.
Okay. We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU Athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very Children's Hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. In the meantime, there are going to be some key announcements in August that impact LSU before guys start their senior seasons. One is coming up Saturday, and it's Deuce Geralds. I know it's a guy we've talked a lot about. Here, less than a week from the announcement, Shea, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, in the Deuce Geralds, he's a top 10 D lineman in this class, and coming out of Georgia, but he's going to leave the state of Georgia. And what makes this intriguing for LSU is that he's got family in the area because his dad went to Scotlandville, and his dad signed with Ole Miss when Frank Wilson and Coach O, all those guys were up in Oxford. So time flies. Matt, we've done this with Chad Jones and Jai Eugene, everybody else. It's all, we're all getting very old when we followed their recruitment and now their kids' recruitments. But Deuce Geralds' dad, I guess the connection, Ole Miss is a finalist because he's an alum there, but Frank Wilson being now at LSU, and being the guy who recruited him up there and has kept up with him over the years, kind of has really put LSU into the mix. And then Oregon is obviously one of the better recruiting teams in the country, like LSU. They've been a favorite of his for a while as well. So I think if you're handicapping it, maybe you say Oregon's the leader. But I do think LSU outpaces Ole Miss at this point, even being the alma mater of his father.
I see over at Rivals, they've got Oregon with a 64% chance, followed by Ohio State at 26%, Ole Miss at 1.9, then LSU at 1.4. Can you explain maybe what those numbers mean and where LSU stands in that pecking order and the odds of maybe landing Deuce Geralds' commitment on Saturday?
Yeah, a large part of the disparity there is that the picks, the recruiting prediction machine picks, the lone ones are on Oregon now. So like I said, they're kind of considered to be the front runner. I think it's going to be one of those things where he's on the phone with everybody all week. His parents are representation, all that. But I would say LSU, look, they have a hat on the table. They're going to have a shot. There was a time where I would have said definitely they're the leader, but Oregon has closed strong on a lot of players recently. LSU the same, but I'd give the Ducks a slight edge, at least today.
Shea Dixon's with us from On 3. The Bengal Tiger, of course, have now merged with Rivals. So you see a lot of the Rivals branding on the recruiting side, the rankings and things of that nature. I know there's two other guys that are going to announce here soon, Shea, that LSU's keeping an eye on. One is Jase Mathews, another receiver out of Mississippi. We've talked plenty about Jason. I want an update, but Shea, maybe you can give us a little bit of an idea of why it seems like LSU has had so much success here in the past couple of years in Mississippi.
I mean, I think the coaches will speak of border states being important. They circle that. We've talked about this before, Matt, the 7-hour drive. Like if you're within 7 hours of driving, you can go home whenever. Your parents can come in, family can come in whenever. In one day without having to do a hotel or an overnight stay somewhere to split it up or anything like that. And that helps not just obviously with recruiting the close proximity, but the transfer portal, because the data is already showing if you're coming from Ohio to LSU and you're not playing, you're probably going to go home. If you're coming from Houston to LSU, you may stick around because you're close to home. It's already the best option or one of the best options you have. So I look at that. I think that though Mississippi, Donovan Tate being on staff, who fellow Hattiesburg High grad like myself,
great point.
Maybe more importantly, Hattiesburg High has the number one receiver in the country, a 5-star committed to LSU and Tristan Keys. But Donovan's been elevated. He's been here a few years now, but to director of recruiting and just look, the Pine Belt area, Oak Grove, Brett Favre's, we're kind of known for that area, and then Hattiesburg High, and then into Lamar, kind of that outstretch of the Pine Belt. LSU's recruited that area, which is where Donovan's from, and has a lot of connections really well. I mean, think about P.J. Woodland, think about Tyler Miller, who they just signed in December as the top-ranked lineman out of Mississippi, and now this year they're up in the Laurel area, and gosh, Bryson Cooley, who picked LSU over Bama, and a number of others. All of that, in addition to Keys, is massive. The most wild one is the one who's not from the Pine Belt. It's Emmanuel Tucker, their top 10 offensive tackle commit, who's from New Albany. That's like Ole Miss country. It would be, an Acadiana kid not going to LSU. That's kind of what we've always said is it would be one of the most shocking things to happen. So, from the top of the state to the bottom, they've recruited really well, and Jase Mathews is the next guy to watch for.
Yeah. I see there at the recruiting prediction machine, Auburn's pretty heavy favorite. Is that the lean right now, Shea?
I think, Matt, Auburn has always been considered the favorite. But really, look, Derek Nix, who played at Southern Miss, coached at Ole Miss for a long time. He had recruited him to Ole Miss as an in-state guy, and then joined that staff a year ago. But at the same time, I think that, look, Deuce Knight, who also is committed to Auburn, already signed. Those two are good friends. But LSU, Tristan Keys, all the commits I listed from Mississippi, they've been on him. LSU's been on him heavily, and he's talked up LSU in a big way. And I think that pairing him and Tristan Keys together, if you can get the number 1 and 2 receivers in the country. That's an unbelievable deal, let alone if they were from a border state, and you've already got the two best Louisiana receivers committed. So some might say pipe dream. I think more realistic than people realize. It's LSU or Auburn, or we'll see if A&M doesn't surge in kind of the final, 10 days here.
And then, Shea, Darius Gray is the other one we've talked about a bunch, big five-star offensive lineman. We got about a month still. It'll be August 22nd is his announcement date. But with it being a dead period, is there really much any of these schools can do to try to sway Darius Gray between now and his decision date?
I mean, you're always having the phone calls and communication and talking and making your pitches of development and Will Campbell going to the draft and all these different things. But for me, what I've noticed leading up to, and this is all fair game here, but kind of leading up to announcements, one of the big things that you're discussing is NIL and rev share, which is now how you're splitting up and kind of allocating all of the money that's being given to football onto your team, and guys who could potentially join the team are wanting to know what they're getting, and they have representation for all that. I mean, I've talked to so many kids, Matt, who say, look, I stay out of it completely. I'm 17 years old. My parents just deal with our representation, and they largely handle any conversations with the schools. So that's kind of where we're at with things, and I'm not saying that's the deciding factor, but it's not something you talk about every day, the whole kind of stretch of your recruitment. But when you know you're committing in the next few weeks, that becomes sort of one of the big topics of conversation.
Sure. And with Gray, it's odd. We talked about Geralds and Mathews. In the RPM, LSU is not considered the favorite. With Gray, the five-star offensive lineman, LSU is a pretty sizable favorite over South Carolina. Is this a two-horse race, and where does LSU stand right now?
Yeah, I think it is. Look, Tennessee's in it, all that. There's maybe a couple of other teams you could say are going to have a hat on the table, or at least he's talked up here recently. But I think Lamar Brown, right? Like we all kind of knew all along it was LSU or A&M, and what would he do? But the inverse here, right? He's a Virginia kid, so I think the big thing LSU battles here is distance, right? South Carolina's been on him a long time, and they're not far from home. At the same time, he's been very high on LSU. Steve Wiltfong, our national recruiting reporter, has had his pick on LSU for a bit now. And Matt, you've seen it. Brad Davis just seems to have a knack for going out there and grabbing a five-star every cycle, even if he's not from Louisiana. And Gray's kind of been that guy, at least from the earliest stages of who Brad Davis identified and offered.
He is Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Make sure you get him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. By the next time we speak, Shea, we'll know Deuce Geralds' decision and what domino or chain reaction that domino falling will cause in the recruiting world. We appreciate it as always, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good week.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.